Let's go to line number 1. Good morning, Greg Malone. You're on the air.
Hi, Paddy.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Grand, thank you.
There's about a million things I'd like to talk about listening to your show all week. There's so much going on that I would like to stick my oar in the water on, but you know what it's like. I'm going to have to restrict myself to my one topic for now.
Okay.
And that is Tordon 101. The neurotoxin that they're going to spray on us again this year. And we're planning a day of action. We had a public forum, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, and we had a lot of positive response to that. I've met an awful lot of people since then. Not one of them wanted to have Tordon 101 sprayed on them, but we have had an awful lot of positive reaction of people who are opposed to the sprays and wanting to have some kind of way of expressing themselves about it. So we're going to have a day of action on Saturday, and, you know, people can download petitions offline if they want to, or they can come Saturday and get petitions. There's all kinds of ways of getting your hands on a petition, and, you know, get your family, your friends, your co-workers, or whatever group you belong to, if they're interested, to sign those petitions, and we'll then collect them and get them into the House of Assembly to demonstrate to the government that people of Newfoundland do not want to be sprayed with neurotoxins anymore. And, you know, I don't know, people don't really know about Tordon 101, but I was reading this week, in fact, I was reading an article about Vietnam and the horrendous birth defects and deformities that they are coping with in Vietnam because of the Vietnam War, both in the deformities with people and animals and plants and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, it's directly related to the Agent Orange and the Agent White that was sprayed on Vietnam. And when they didn't have Agent Orange, or when Agent Orange was not allowed, they used Agent White. And Agent White is Tordon 101. That's what we're using. Now, of course, in Vietnam, they don't use... That was the enemy was spraying them with Agent Orange and Agent White, the enemy. And they're not spraying themselves with Agent White or Agent Orange over in Vietnam anymore. Mm-hmm. One of the few people left doing it is here in Newfoundland. We're spraying ourselves with Agent White. And under the misguided beliefs, I guess, in some quarters, that it's somehow safe. But I keep reading, don't put this stuff near water. Don't spray it in ditches. No, don't spray it near standing water, because it really travels in water. Now, I saw pictures of them spraying the Trans-Canada around Paddy's Pond there last year I guess it was, and there was a guy spraying it out of a hose. He didn't have a mask on, he had nothing on that would look like a protective device. There was cars going up and down the road, and he was spraying it directly into the ditch. The hose going directly exactly where you're not supposed to put it. I mean, like, everything in the picture was wrong about that in terms of how to use a highly volatile toxic chemical.
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, if it shouldn't be sprayed at all, that's one issue, but then they put forward things and regulations for control of it that they say will protect the environment and humans and those who are doing the spraying, but those are only even have minimal worth if people follow them correctly. So I saw those pictures too, Greg. It's really quite something. I see Bill Montevecchi today talked about the transmission project and putting species that are at risk, at further risk. You know, sometimes it's the unfortunate reality of life is you're a well-known man across the province, but there's other with the academic background in this field that to have them on side and to have them speaking out does have an appreciable effect, because sometimes when people like Mr. Montevecchi speak, people do listen. So have you got, is Bill involved with this, and what's going on that front? Because it's the unfortunate reality of life. Sometimes even celebrities or movie stars who wouldn't know one end of an oil derrick from another, they talk about it, and all of a sudden millions of people are on side. So do you have those types of people outside of yourself on side?
Well, we absolutely do, of course. You got people from the chemistry department at MUN, Dr. Atanu Sarkar, and he's an eminent, environmental chemist and stuff like that, and he says that the situation in Newfoundland is a crisis. It's a crisis. We really need to reduce our toxic load here and stop using this stuff. And Dr. Corey Young, who says the same thing. And, of course, Bill Montevecchi and those guys are on board, and I think it does add great credibility to have people with a background in this field.
Where's the day of action going to take place on Saturday, Greg?
And Saturday we're going to be in Bannerman Park, just right next to the Colonial Building. And we're going to gather there and distribute, where are they getting together in Labrador?
In Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and
in Happy Valley, they're getting together, and in Goose Bay, they're also getting together. Labrador, I've had tremendous amount of feedback from Labrador, where they're very, very concerned about the amount of Tordon being used up there on the Muskrat Falls project. And, of course, they're really concerned because Valet is over there discharging lethal effluent, and no one really cares. Like, the environmental standards in this province are not high. And if we're going to be using these really, really dangerous things, we really need to rethink the way we think about them, the way we think about these kinds of sprays. And so we really have to be very, very critical about them.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised you're getting a lot of feedback from Labrador, not for a sweeping generalization, but they have a much more prominent relationship with the land. The environmental sensitivity is different in Labrador than it is on the island. So I'm not surprised one bit on that front. So, folks, if you are interested, they'll be congregating on Saturday at what time, Greg?
We're congregating on Saturday. That's a good question. What time is it? Is
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock in Bannerman Park. And 10 o'clock in Happy Valley, Goose Bay.
10 a.m. Happy Valley, Goose Bay. 1 p.m. here in City St. John's, Bannerman Park, not under the shade of those glorious trees that are no longer there. So I think it's important. I'm glad you called again this morning, Greg. Stay in touch at your convenience with whatever the next one in their priority list of the million of issues you'd like to discuss.
Patty, can I say one more thing?
Sure you can.
And that is that if people want to see the petition and print it off on their own computers and stuff, you can go to bantordon101.wordpress.com, and you'll get all the information you want there. And you can get your own, petition. That's at bantordon101.wordpress.com, and you can print off your own petition and take it around to your friends and get involved in this, because I think if enough people get involved, I really think we can make a difference here and actually do something positive for our province. And so many issues on which we need to get the people involved and get our democracy back and get the government listening to what the people want, and this is a big one, and I think the people want this, and so we're trying to make it possible for them to have their say.
Yeah, political leverage comes in strength in numbers.
That's right, and I really appreciate being able to have my say on your show here this morning.
At your convenience. Talk again soon.
All right, Patty, hope so. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Greg. Bye-bye.